too involved with this one.
Here comes Dario.
Oh, those are Joey! Unbelievable! The championship contenders.
And Power gets the worst of it.
Oh, that was not Power's fault.
Wow.
And he stalled. He stalled.
Yep.
He needs to be restarted.
Full course caution.
Yeah.
He got a wheel under him, and
wow.
Very similar to the Kanan situation.
Guys, can I give you my take on this? And you're going to say, what are you thinking? Dario has huge respect for Will Power and vice versa. And it almost looked like Dario was going to have a go and then kind of backed out. And,
right.
And because of that, you know, indecision, they just touched. I don't think it was anything malicious. It was just one of those things.
Well, let's take a closer look. This is very similar to what we saw between Briscoe. In fact, he's nowhere close, though. See, Power
almost exactly the same.
Yeah, but Power didn't give him room because, you know, Franchitti was far enough back to where he's thinking, okay, well, he's at this point, okay, I'm clear. I can go to the apex.
Guys, and you can see he was looking in his mirror for Dario.
Yeah.
You know, you see his head just turns, you know, more to the right, and he obviously, like you say, didn't give quite enough room.
I definitely don't fault Power in that one. I don't think it was malicious, but definitely Franchitti turned him around.
Driver's right at turn 3, around the corner.
Now, what you have to wonder is if race control will give Franchitti a penalty for that as avoidable contact.
Yep.
I'm sure Penske will be pushing for that.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that the Penske team will want to see something done.
That's surprising to me. As you said, they have a lot of respect for each other. And I agree. It was probably, can I make it? Oh, no, I can't. And he was trying to abort.
Exactly, but by then it was too late and they touched.
And Franchitti, but Franchitti will be given a drive-through penalty. Kevin.
Chip, what did you make of the call against Dario?
Sorry?
What did you make of the call against Dario? He's going to have to do a drive-through.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of odd. I mean, the guy opens the door, then he closes the door. I don't know, and then we get blamed for it. I don't know if I understand that call or not.
Okay, we're seeing a replay again.
Indycar Toronto, it's getting
guys,
back to what it used to be.
Again, late contact coming almost out of the corner after the apex, but Will Power gets spun around, and that caused the full course caution.
I really think it was just one of those things. Dario thought about it, then tried to get out of it, and it was just, you know, a little bit too late.
We have yet to see Dario serve his penalty that we were told about.
You're better off serving it early. You don't want to wait. You want to get it done so you have time to catch back up.
He has moved to third on the racetrack, ahead of his teammate Scott Dixon.
They won't let him carry on forever. They will at some point say they're going to stop scoring you, so they'll press the issue.
He's just trying to get as many laps under his belt. You're absolutely right, to try and spread the field.
Well, now we hear from race control that they have changed their mind, and Dario will not have to serve the penalty.
Oh, man.
Bob, I'm telling you, the Chip Ganassi I know is, you know, that's the one thing you got to respect about. He'll do everything he can to defend his driver, and he's won this battle.
You can't make that call and then unmake it.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta choose your side of the line and stay there.
Yeah, I'm sure Penske's probably scratching his head. What, you know, like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Power, meanwhile, is mired back in 15th position.
Now, just to confirm about the penalty that would have been given for that contact, the call did come down from race control that he had a drive-through, but then Unser Jr. and Tony Kottman reviewed it, went to Brian Barnhart and said, we think it's a racing incident. They then retracted that call. I can't say I agree with that, but that's the facts.
And Kevin is with Team.
So let's go down to Will Power real quick with Kevin's got him.
Well, Will, first take us through the contact with Dario. What's your perspective on that? He was penalized, originally what we were told, now no penalty.
Well, it doesn't surprise me he didn't get a penalty because he never gets penalized. It's pretty typical, pretty dirty move. So bam, just turns me around. Ah, man, that guy. Does anyone ever penalize this guy? Dirty as you like. I left the inside open under brakes. I turned, you know, my guys did a great pit stop, got me out in front, and yeah, man, really disappointed in Dario. I always race him clean, and he always races me dirty. He did the same at St. Pete, drove me into the wall. I didn't say anything. He did it again today.
Did you come together with Tagliani at one point as well?
Yeah, I think Tag hit me. Pretty typical for him. He's always a bit of a wanker, so he took me out completely that time. So not good for the Verizon car. Man, 2 races in a row we're out. But yeah, disappointed in Dario, the guy that mouths off about everyone and whinges about everyone, and he's a guy who races the most dirty, never gets a penalty from Indycar. It's just not right.
A very frustrated and very pointed Will Power.
There's a driver that's pretty much fed up.
Yeah.
Right there, it's Will Power.
Yeah, he's not a happy camper right now, that's for sure.
And a big hit in the points, of course. Right now, he is 45 behind Dario as the race with Rick Mears. Lindy?
Yes, another win on the record books for this team. This one not without some controversy. First, let's talk about the reversal of that penalty. What did you say to make that happen?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what
The reversal of the penalty with Dario.
I didn't know there was a penalty until someone from television came up and said something to me. I didn't hear anything about it.
Will's not very happy about it, says Dario basically always gets what he wants.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. I mean, that's not the way we wanted to win. And, you know, it looked to me at one point that Will opened the door and then closed it. You know, unfortunately, I wasn't driving the car.
Another thing I have to ask you about, Michael Andretti said he thought the Ganassi cars were not lining up on purpose there at the end to get some more time in the yellow.
Yeah, no, that was not the case at all. I'm sorry that people felt that way. There were some marbles on the outside of turn 11, and the 38 car was not letting us get up there. I had to go over and talk to the 38 car and explain that to them.
What'd they say?
They said, okay, we'll let you up alongside of us.
Chip Ganassi being very candid with us today, Bob.
Al Unser Jr. has joined us in the booth, and from race control, Al, tell us about the what we heard was a penalty and then a rescinding of the penalty.
On which one?
Power and
there was so many.
Yeah, you're right.
This was a melee of a race, I've got to tell you. So which one?
Franchitti and Power.
Between Franchitti and Power, there was never a penalized issued to either driver. Being Franchitti. Franchitti was underneath Will, and there was no penalty assessed to him. Based on what we had saw earlier at the beginning of the race, between Tony Kanaan and Briscoe. They were too far around the corner, and if the drivers would have just given each other a little bit more room, we're talking a foot here, we wouldn't have had the incident. Okay?
And here it is, Al.
This is just, he's trying to close the door. The 12 car knows that the 10 car is there. We could go back earlier at the beginning of the race and look at Tony Kanaan and Ryan Briscoe, and the same thing was there. If Tony would have given him just a little bit more room. There's another example at the end of the race. Right, right here.
Yeah.
Right. If Tony would have given him just a little bit more, okay, you can't. You just need to give the driver a little bit more room. That was a little bit further around the corner. Okay, Briscoe pushed out on the front end. I'd like to see a better example of at the end of the race with the 38 car and
Ryan Hunter-Reay.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay.
So I guess what we heard was that there was going to be a drive-through penalty for Dario, and then it was decided there was not. But you say there was never.
There was never a penalty going to even be thinking about that. Okay, now he tried to close the door right there. The 38 car, he knew he was there. He tried to close the door. You're too far around the corner, and we had too many incidences right there where the drivers were not giving up any ground.
Or you can say that again.
They just weren't giving up any ground. So
thanks, Al, very much for coming by and explaining it to us.
You betcha. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
And Dario Franchitti steps out of the car as winner of the Honda Indycar.
Dario, that was as wild as I've seen. What was it inside the cockpit?
Oh, it was wild. Every single restart was wild. The marbles were really tricky on those restarts. In fact, we were struggling just to get side by side on them, and everybody was sliding around, and no, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And obviously, there was contact with Will, which
you know, if he's pissed off, he's quite right to be pissed off there. You know, that is, he braked late. I was going for it on the inside. I hadn't hesitated. He braked really late. I thought, man, that's pretty impressive. But he went wide because of that. So I saw a gap, went down the inside, and he came down and closed the door. So just as the wall was coming out, so I made contact with him, and I'm sorry for that. That's not the way I want to race.
Yeah, he was very angry, very pointed in his criticism. So in hindsight, you would have not pressed the issue there. And here's a look at it.
No, as you can see, he's out there and he's left me a lane, and then he comes down. You know, the wall's coming out, he's coming down a bit, and you know, ultimately I'll take more than 50% of the blame on that one. I think he's got some of the blame too. But if you look how wide he is here, and then I'm down the inside now, not all the way, but he keeps coming down. You know, I'm hugging the wall there, and he just keeps coming down. So you know, as I say, that's not the way I want to race, and I'll definitely talk to him about that, because, and you know, if he is pissed off, I see it as a racing incident, but I will take certainly at least my 50% of the blame in that one.
There was a lot of confusion about whether there was a penalty or not. At one point, we were hearing that you were going to be given a penalty. Did you ever have any concern about that during the race?
Well, you worry about it. You know, what is avoidable contact? There's no doubt what is avoidable contact, and you know, it was happening all day though. And I have to say, I ran through that hairpin side by side with guys on the inside and the outside all day long, and you know, Will didn't give me room. So that was, I suppose ultimately that's it. If I was going to be completely, you know, if I wouldn't have made the move at all, but then if you're not going to make any moves at all, you're going to sit in whatever position you start in. So, but yeah, crazy day here in Toronto. Big day for us though, 1-2 for Team Target. You know, Target's coming to Canada in 2 years' time. This is the big thing. We got a lot of the big guys from Target here. So 1-2 is a great achievement, and all these guys did a great job.
And through the melee, like you said, a big day. You said, I don't really want to focus on points right now. The byproduct of your fourth win, though, is that you do have a pretty decent cushion in the championship for the moment.
Yeah, but look how strong Scott was all weekend, man. I thought he was the car to beat all weekend, and you know, we know what he's like on these road courses, and he's pissed off right now, and he's going to be coming hard too. So just got to keep doing this every week if we can.
All right, the boss steps in. Congratulations to Dario Franchitti. Chip Ganassi wins for the fourth time here on the streets of Toronto. We're going to hear more of the storylines. There is a lot to get to.